Okay, let's try to do this one more time. This time, and make sure I do it right, and your way will work, okay? First of all, we're going to do the lowest common denominator. What I did was I carried the number down wrong. So let's do 2/3 plus 5/6. What I did is I changed it the second time around. All right, so what's the lowest common denominator of 3 and 6? 6, right? Both of these go into 6. So if we can do that, then we won't have to change the right. We can just change the left to 6 and save us some time. So how do we change 2/3 to have a denominator of 6?
Times it by 2.
Okay, good. That's right this time. Okay, so that's 4/6 plus 5/6 equals 9/6. That was the issue we had. Okay, which reduces to what? If you divide both by 3. 9/3 is 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Okay? So if you find the lowest common denominator, you don't have to, well, in this case, you don't have to change the right. So you save yourself some time. Now, here's the way you were doing it, and yes, it does work. You're doing it the same way we did before, straightforward. You're just skipping steps. You're not showing your work. You're showing some of it, not all of it. Okay, so what you're saying is 6 times 2 is 12. 3 times 5 is, and if you add those, you get 27. And you do multiply the bottoms. Okay, so 3 times 6 is 18. And if you reduce that, you also get 3/2. Okay? So like I said, you can choose which way to do, but if the numbers get really, really big, I'd recommend using the least common multiple. Okay, so let's do a few that way. First example, or the second example, we're going to have 5/7 plus 4/21. So you can imagine 7 times 21 is a big number, so we probably don't want to use the direct way. We want to go ahead and just find the least common multiple, or lowest common denominator. So what's the smallest number that both 7 and 21 go into? Anybody? Smallest number that 7 and 21 go into? 21. Not the greatest common factor. Remember, the least common multiple has to be at least as big as the biggest number. So 7 goes into 21 3 times. 21 goes into 21 3 times. So that's going to be our, I'm just going to write LCM equals 21. Or LCD, sorry, least common denominator. So that means we don't have to change this. It's already 21, right? The only one we have to change is the 7. So what number can you multiply 7 by to get to 21? 3. So we're going to multiply. So the next step, ensure that the left fraction has the lowest common denominator. That means we have to multiply it by 3. Okay. So we're going to multiply straight across. What's 5 times 3? 15. 7 times 3 should give us what we wanted, 21. All right, next step, ensure that the right has the lowest common denominator. It does. It's already 21. All right, so now that we've done that, we can combine the fractions. So that means all we have to do is add or subtract the numerators. So it's going to be 15 plus 4, which is 19, over 21. Does that reduce? It does not. Okay. They don't have a common factor, so that's the answer, 19/21. So in this case, you guys can see that if you tried to do 7 times 21 on the bottom, it's going to be a little bit too complicated. This way is easier. You can do it that way, but why not do it the easiest way, right? You guys need to write anything else down? You good? Okay. Let's do one with subtraction. Let's do one that's a little bit more difficult. So I'm going to do 7/8 minus We'll do 5/6. The reason I'm doing this one because it's a little bit harder to find the lowest common denominator. So let me ask you guys, what's the smallest number that both 6 and 8 go into?
24.
Nice. He said 24. Here's an easy way. Start with the biggest number, 8. Does 6 go into 8? No. So double 8 to 16. Does 6 go into 16? No. Now you want to triple 8. 8 times 3 is 24. Does 6 go into 24? Yes. So that means that the lowest common denominator is 24. So for this example, guys, we have to convert both the 8 and the 6 to 24. Let's start with the left denominator. How can we turn 8 into 24? Times it by 3. Okay, now let's move over to the right. Let's make sure it has the lowest common denominator. How can we turn 5/6 into the 6 into a 24? Multiply by 4/4. Make sure you do it to the top and bottom. Okay, so for the top of the first one, we have 7 times 3, which is what? 21, right? And that should give us 24. The bottom it does. The next we have 5 times 4, which is 20. Also, you should get 24 on the bottom. All right. Who wants to tell me how to combine these two? 1/24. Good. Remember, the denominators stay the same. Can that be reduced? No, definitely not. So that's the final answer. Like I said, normally when you do these, you don't have to reduce the answer if you already found the LCD. Okay, so you could do it the other way. You get 48 on the bottom and something else on top too. Yeah, if you did it the other way, you'd get 2/24, which would reduce to 1/. You get 2/48, which reduced to 1/24. All right, one more example. You guys want to help me out with the first fraction?
4.
All right, 4 on the top. Need an odd number on the bottom. Odd number. 17. Wow. We're getting crazy. No, sir. We are not doing that.
1.
Hey, let's do a whole number. I like that. Let's do a whole number. Let's do 3. I like 3. Okay. All right. In order to find a lowest common denominator, what do we have to do with this number? All right, great. Put it over 1. So it's 4/17 plus 3/1. Can anybody tell me what the lowest common denominator of 17 and 1 is?
17.
No, you're good. Yep.
Really?
If 1 is 1, then of course it's going to be the other one, right? Because they both go into 17. Okay, so that means we do not have to change anything on the left. It's already got the LCD, but this one. But on the right, we have to change 3/1. So what do we need to multiply by? Not 4. Not 3.
Wait, you multiply what number?
The right number. By what?
Oh, so 17.
Yeah, 17/17. So it have the same denominator. So we get 4/17 plus, what's 3 times 17? 3 times 17. It's going to be the top of this fraction. Close to 41. 51.
I like it.
All right, so now we can combine the fractions. What's 4 plus 51? 50 what? Nope. 55. I was actually thinking the same thing. I don't know why. 55/17. Can that be reduced? To what? A mixed number? Okay. Well. Other than that, can it be reduced? Nope, we're good.
Because 17, only one, 17.
Okay, I lied. We're going to do one more. You guys can just watch this one. You don't have to write it down. Now, we're only going to do one more. And I'm going to do another subtraction one. Oh, okay. This one's going to be a little bit more complicated. 5/16 minus 7/24. It's more complicated because it's going to be harder to find the lowest common denominator. Good job. Okay. Again, the shortcut is check to see if both of them go into 24. No, 16 doesn't. So what he did was he doubled 24. He got 48. Then he noticed that, yes, they both go in. 16 goes into 48. Of course, 24 does. So therefore, the lowest common denominator is 48. So like before, we have to convert both into 48. How can we convert 16 into 48? Multiply by what? 3. Okay, how can we convert 24 into 48? 2. Now again, you don't have to do it this way. You can do it the other way where you just, multiply one denominator by the other, and then, but you guys can see that 16 times 24 is a pretty big number. So if you can do it this way, you'll save yourself some time. So the first fraction is going to turn into 5 times 3, which is 15 over 48. Okay, so 5 times 3 is 15, 16 times 3 is 48. How about the next fraction? Whoops, leave some room here. What's 7 times 2?
14.
So 7 times 2 is 14, and then 24 times 2 is 48. So it's going to be 14 over 48. All right, and then this minus sign is going to carry down. So it's going to be minus. All right, again, we can just what? We can just subtract the numerators. So the final answer is 1 over 48. That's it.